We're very fortunate to have a guest presenter. His name is Chris Cathers, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a couple of minutes. First, we'll do the acknowledgement, very important part of these workshops. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge with respect the traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, whose land this program is based, and the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Wasanic peoples, whose historical relationship continues on with this land to this very day. And we thank you all for attending virtually from all different traditional territories you reside. I hope you are enjoying the webinars. Hang on, I'm gonna get that going. Hope you're enjoying these webinars. We're getting some really positive feedback. And we have a good series of workshops still to come. Tonight is let's talk about business opportunities specifically for Indigenous entrepreneurs. And we have a continuation of it tomorrow as well. So we have two guest facilitator workshops, both hosted by Chris Cathers. Chris is a Métis entrepreneur located in Nanaimo on the island, currently operates Evolution Business Media Group, digital media marketing company, and works with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses in terms of branding, web, social media, advertising, and business planning and development. He is also, he's very much like me. He's a bit of a startup entrepreneurial junkie. He owns and operates a real estate development company, manages Airbnbs, rentals, is involved in the construction of 11-unit townhouse project in Nanaimo, and also runs a company called Rooftop Tents, which he'll tell you about, which he developed completely on his own. It's an awesome entrepreneur. I will hand the reins over to Chris as presenter. Let's see as he logs in. Chris?
Yep. Hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the nice introduction, Jay. Like Jay had said, my name is Chris Cathers, and I am a Métis entrepreneur located in Nanaimo. So I would just like to recognize all the Coast Salish territories that we reside in, and Nanaimo, where I am currently based out of in Nanaimo. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited to be delivering these series of workshops. I've worked with Jay for quite a few years now, and traditionally we've been delivering these workshops in person. But now, obviously, due to the circumstances, that we're doing it virtually. So it's pretty exciting because, you know, with all what's happening in the world and all these changes and adaptations that we've had to make, there's opportunities here. And so one of these is that we're still able to deliver this training, and we're able to do it virtually. And I think, you know, as an entrepreneur or when you're in business, you have to look and identify these times as opportunities. You know, maybe you have more time, or maybe you're not having to, you know, do this or that, but now you got time to maybe plan or get that business going. So exciting times. So yeah, so again, I am a Métis entrepreneur. I born and raised here in Nanaimo in Vancouver Island. I love Vancouver Island, very passionate about it. I'm married. I've got 3 small children. We live up by Nanaimo River. My wife, my partner, Ember, she's an accountant, and she works at the university. So between my experience in business and marketing and her experience in accounting, we make a pretty good couple, and we're able to bounce you know, ideas and work on our strengths together. So I think, you know, that's important in business, that you have those type of people that you surround yourself with, as good quality people who maybe complement your weaknesses. And so I studied business and marketing and anthropology at Vancouver Island University, where I also worked in publishing, the Navigator newspaper. And then afterwards that, I got to working with Black Press, and then eventually branching off and helping a partner at the time create a company called the Business Examiner in West Northwest Publishing, where I worked for about 10 years in publishing and advertising, writing, photography, business development. So that was kind of, a really good opportunity in the sense that I met a lot of incredible entrepreneurs and business people. And even though I learned a lot about publishing and content and news and media, I think the biggest takeaway from that experience was the connections that you make. And in business, I believe that the relationships are critical to a successful business and a successful entrepreneur, because there may come a time where you need something or you need help with something, and if you have that relationship or that connection, not only that, but you really need a lot of trust when you are running a business. And so if you have those pre-existing relationships, that trust is already built. So currently I run a company called Evolution Business Media Group, and we work with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses around marketing, communications, social media, video, content development, search engine optimization, marketing strategy, business planning. I also specialize a lot with working with Indigenous communities. I work kind of like a communications department for some bands across the province. So that's really exciting because a lot of either companies or organizations, they just don't have that skill set or the time to be able to manage that. So also, like Jay, I've started up lots of different businesses. I've used to run a company called Van Ventures Rentals, where I owned and operated a fleet of minivans that were camperized. And then it just ended up taking up too much of my time, so I eventually sold all the vans off. But what I did do is I morphed that business into a new company called RooftopTents.ca, where I'm importing rooftop tents from China and I'm reselling them over here in Canada. As well as I have a real estate company, Cathers Enterprises, where I rezone property or I build, and I have a combination of Airbnb rentals as well as other rentals that I manage. So why do I do what I do? I'm very passionate about small business and entrepreneurship, and I truly do believe that Indigenous communities and Indigenous people are natural entrepreneurs. And so, it's a way to be able to kind of create economic independence and be more in control of your own future and your own destiny. I don't think that Indigenous people fit that kind of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday routine. We usually have big families and we have other responsibilities, and we do good working for ourselves. We realize the importance of having to get things done when they're needed, and we're not afraid of hard work. Some other things that I've been recognized for is I also won the top 20 under 40 on Vancouver Island for contributions to business and community. And I'm a big believer in giving back to the community, and whether that's volunteering or just being connected, and volunteering on boards or volunteering, giving your time to worthy causes. I really believe that in business, especially as an entrepreneur, that what you give in to the community, you get back like 3 or 4 times fold. Whether that's your network and the relationships that you build, which all generally end up turning into some kind of opportunity somewhere down along the line. So I'm just going to put a couple links in the chat bar here with my profile. See here, my LinkedIn profile for those of you who want to connect with me. Here's a link to my website. Here's a link to my Facebook, and also my email, and my cell phone. So feel free to connect any of those ways. Reach out to me. Please like my Facebook page, connect with me through LinkedIn. And, if you have any questions, by all means, please feel free to use the chat on here and type your message. I'll be hosting tonight's workshop as well as tomorrow's workshop, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things, but like the Indigenous perspective of running a business. So exploring opportunities for entrepreneurial ideas, some branding, some when and how to get involved with new ideas or to expand your business, some success and some failures, and so why Indigenous businesses work or don't work. We're going to take about a 10-minute break at 7 o'clock, and then I'll run the meeting shortly thereafter. And then at the end, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to put it in the chat there. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Indigenous perspective, some of the challenges and barriers. So some of the challenges and barriers are access to capital or equity. I talked to a lot of Indigenous entrepreneurs, and sometimes accessing money through financing and loans can be a real challenge. And, a lot of Indigenous people, especially on reserve, can't necessarily borrow money or leverage their equity in their houses because the banks kind of shy away from that. So it can be kind of challenging when you want to grow a business or start a business because you need funding and capital to start a business. So whether that's purchasing equipment or being able to fund your startup costs, there's it can be a real challenge, as well as maybe not understanding how things like credit works. I know when I went to school, no one really told me about credit rating or credit cards, and then suddenly you turn 18 or 19 and you get these opportunities to apply for credit cards. You get these, the bank telling you to apply for credit cards, and and suddenly you have a credit card and you're like, ooh, this is fun, I'm gonna rack this up. And well, if you're not making the payments, or you get into a situation where you fall behind, that can seriously impact your credit rating and can impact the rest of your life. So some of these things that you don't necessarily are told or taught in school can come back and can be hard life lessons. So I know when I was younger and when I was in college, I had some credit cards that went into arrears, and that ended up impacting my first mortgage and trying to borrow. So those are some things you don't not necessarily learn about keeping a good credit score. So which is really important if you eventually if you want to borrow money to start up a company. So sometimes also access to people who can help you out as far as starting a business can be sometimes few and far between, or not knowing where to start, or so some places that you can seek support where within your traditional communities that they may have a economic development department, or they may not. So that can be challenging as well, that maybe you're not on reserve, or you live quite away from your reserve or your band, and you just don't necessarily have access to those type of people to help you. Also, sometimes you need skilled labor to help you run your business. So access to skilled employees can be challenging, especially maybe if you do live and work in a remote community. Eventually, if you do want to scale up your business, you can have big challenges as far as having quality skilled laborers or employees. Also, again, if you're working in a remote community, you can sometimes have infrastructure coverage difficulties. So like things like reliable internet and cell phone and communications, or poor infrastructure like roads or airports, or access to water or reliable power can be kind of difficult. So as well, so those are some of the challenges that you may have, is again having access to capital and equity, but also around social barriers. And I think that this is you kind of seen a lot of this now, especially down south in the States, where there's incredible cultural discrimination and racial tensions. Indigenous people for many generations have suffered a lot of this. Regardless of the government putting in place barriers for discrimination, Indigenous people still live with discrimination to this day. During a lot of stereotypes and misconceptions about doing business with Indigenous entrepreneurs, and it can be very challenging. And I know it can be kind of emotionally draining and challenging when people have those types of views. Also, with education and training, I myself, didn't really get an education. It wasn't until like university where I started to learn about business and entrepreneurship. Because you don't really teach those things in school. It kind of teach you to be a good employee, and it seemed like the whole traditional education system was created to, for you to go work in a manufacturing shop. And I don't know, I just I don't necessarily believe in it. I think nowadays we have a lot more access to tools, and we have YouTube, and there's tons of online resources. So that's a positive. But I think traditionally a lot of people didn't have education around how to write a business plan, or how to negotiate with suppliers or contractors, or completing bookkeeping, or how to communicate with the government. These are a lot of barriers that Indigenous people face that not everyone really faces, and I think there's a lot of negative and misconceptions out there as far as Indigenous people having tax breaks or other privileges, or the welfare, or they're lazy and they don't know how to work or contribute to society. And this has, I believe, remained unchanged for a very, very, very long time. And while I believe it's gotten better, I still believe that it really exists out there. And another thing I've heard from other Indigenous entrepreneurs are things like alienation from the community. A lot of communities view entrepreneurs as going out from the band and against the community. So this can happen when things like contracts or benefits from larger resource-based projects that the community opposes. And I've heard one entrepreneur say that it's really lonely at the top, and a lot of people can be very jealous and kind of have this resentment towards successful entrepreneurs. And obviously it's with a lot of hard work that these people endure to get to where they are. And sometimes they become successful and sometimes they don't. But I think there's a lot of jealousy that exists in communities when someone does do a good job. And one of the byproducts, unfortunately, is that there can be kind of sabotage. I've seen and heard this with a lot of communities where opportunities don't get presented to them because they're doing too good, or they're doing good, and someone else tries to intentionally sabotage that potential opportunity. So I think that these are some of these barriers that kind of inhibit Indigenous entrepreneurs from becoming successful. Whether it's societal discrimination, or internal within their own band. And I've even seen it with even own family members where, people's own family can have this really kind of harsh resentment and harsh jealousy towards, successful people. And, it can be really difficult, especially, when you are faced with challenges such as right now, whether, sometimes like with this COVID, you may have clients that completely disappeared, or you can't operate, or, and so there's, it just can be really challenging as far as being an Indigenous entrepreneur facing these social barriers, or, these community barriers. But at the same time, there are opportunities. So, there are programs and access to capital and financing. There are Aboriginal financial institutes or otherwise known as AFIs, that provide financing that's created for Indigenous entrepreneurs. And I believe some of them may have already presented, that being TAC out of North Vancouver, NEDC out of Port Alberni. There's also the Métis Financial Capital Corporation. And so, yeah, there's opportunities, funding such as the Business Equity Program and also the First Citizens Fund, and so that this can provide access to capital to buy equipment or do marketing, or help cover some of the startup costs for your business. And I've been successful in acquiring capital through some of these AFIs, and what it has done was basically kind of let my business expand. So originally when I did it through my camper van rental business, I wrote a business plan and applied, and they were really great. And it was a 5-year loan, and I was successful in paying it back. And I was able to acquire more vans and do a bunch of marketing for the company. And so it worked out really good. And I would recommend, if you do need some startup funding, that you definitely try to apply for this, because as you know, you may know that there's some funding and some non-repayable portions to this financing. And so that can obviously have a huge hand up as far as getting your business going. And I think there's, approximately about a 25 to 30% grant portion up to $100,000. So potentially you get $30,000 in non-repayable funding, as well as if you were successful in getting it, there's the First Citizens Fund, and that's where basically your loan can become interest-free through another grant that kicks in as you pay down your principal loan on that. So some opportunities around funding. I know with this COVID going on, there's also some other access to funding through organizations like your regular bank, like RBC, or your chartered banks, as well as the Métis Financial Capital Corp. And I do believe also all the AFIs are actually offering this. I know it's just getting rolled out right now. Like every government funding, it takes a long time, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through. But I know this is coming down the pipeline because I'm starting to hear about this. So again, access to capital and financing. And again, I also believe the Business Development Bank of Canada has some financing available for Indigenous entrepreneurs, as well as some good resources as far as some staff and that kind of stuff. So again, on the flip side, there may or may not be some economic development organization within your band. I definitely would recommend that if there is an economic development officer, that you connect with them, because they may have some ideas or some opportunities around what's needed in the community, and they can maybe also, you could ask them to be a mentor, or give you some kind of direction or assistance. And if not, at the very least, if you let them know and that they can communicate via their networks, whether that's the band managers or administration or counselors. That's all a really important strategy as far as getting your business going or expanding, is definitely try to reach out and connect with as many people who are an influence within your community or outside your network. Again, the more people who know about you, the better it's going to be. So you just got to really take that as an opportunity and use that to your advantage, because we all know that in business, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So working remotely can force your business also to become less reliant on others and make you more efficient around operating. I mean, you can just kind of see it with what's happened under quarantine, is that it's had to make a lot of businesses a lot more streamlined, whether that's application process, connecting with clients, meeting, like this event, for example. We wouldn't be able to do it without the technology. So it's kind of gives you an opportunity to, basically streamline your company and your processes. As well, if you're forced to hire and train employees, this can mean that you can get things done that you may have not done as well. So another thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is what's called Aboriginal procurement. This is where many levels of the government, especially federally, provincially, and even municipally, have rules and regulations that they have to fulfill, that X amount of contracts have to be awarded to Indigenous companies. These are basically government programs and training that show you how to, create these contract opportunities. So there's a short video that's kind of an introduction to what Aboriginal procurement is about. Jay is going to turn this on in a second, but Jay's also going to have to turn up his speakers. You turn up your speaker, Jay? I think we can hear it, can we? No, we can't hear it, Jay. Got the volume on? There we go.
5 years, Canada. In fact, Aboriginal people are creating new businesses at 9 times the rate of the average Canadian, according to the CCAB 2011 Aboriginal Business Survey. The most recent census revealed that over 5 years, there was a 38% increase of Aboriginal business owners. This exceeds that of self-employed Canadians overall. Aboriginal businesses have also created approximately 82,000 full-time jobs, as well as 18,000 part-time jobs, and the future looks even better. That makes this a pretty exciting time for Aboriginal entrepreneurs. And the procurement strategy for Aboriginal business, or PSAB, is helping to make that change even more remarkable. The Government of Canada believes that employment and wealth creation is key to economic self-reliance. By helping Aboriginal businesses compete for more government contracts, PSAB allows Aboriginal communities to access a more level playing field, enabling economic prosperity like never before. For years, the Government of Canada has been devoted to helping Aboriginal businesses increase their opportunities and find new horizons through the use of PSAB. The program was implemented by Aboriginal Affairs and Northern Development Canada in 1996 to assist and support Aboriginal businesses to pursue and win federal procurement opportunities. Since that time, more than 100,000 contracts with the federal government have been awarded to Aboriginal suppliers with a total value of $3.3 billion. PSAB aims to support business capacity development by identifying opportunities for Aboriginal businesses by fair and transparent competition of federal contracts and encouraging and supporting partnerships. Through PSAB, Aboriginal businesses can find new opportunities to demonstrate their capabilities to perform, diversify their business, and access supply chains. Aboriginal firms are proving their value, competitive skills, and prices against their non-Aboriginal counterparts, and as departments become more familiar with PSAB and the process, they are more willing to participate in set-aside contracting with Aboriginal businesses. Every day, PSAB is creating strategic partnerships that not only benefit Aboriginals, but our nation's proud industries, our economy, and Canadians as a whole.
The set-aside program is an Aboriginal-based program, but it shouldn't be seen as that. It should be seen as an easier way for both the client and your company to work together. It's not a handout, or it's not about race. It's about helping your company become stronger. My name is Fred Cattrall. My company name is Cattrall Photo Associates, and I've been in business for 35 years based out of Ottawa. It was extremely easy to register online for the Aboriginal program. It's a smart program that should be used more. And people should be aware of how important this program is. One of the amazing things about being involved in PSAB is suddenly you're able to talk to a PSAB coordinator in every department. That's so powerful. You're no longer looking for that person. That individual is helping you to market your services to the right people. I think people now see us not so much as an Aboriginal company. We're a company that plays on the national stage, if not in the international stage, and that's where we want to go. And the set-aside program gives us that credibility. You know, over the past few years, I've worked for National Art Centre, Supreme Court, National Defence, Health Canada, Canadian Housing Workers Corporation. When you're saying that to other clients, all of a sudden people are sitting back and say, you photograph the Pope, you photograph the Dalai Lama. You have an immediate trust and clout when you work for federal government departments. You're no longer only dealing with Aboriginal issues. You can apply for all the government contracts. The federal government is one of the very few industries that's going to be there forever. You can have a client that will be there for the length of your company. The set-aside contract have really helped my business over the years, and it's helped my company grow so much. As my company grows, confidence grows, and I get larger and larger contracts.
The PSAB is open to all Aboriginal businesses, including sole proprietorship, limited companies, cooperatives, partnerships, and non-for-profit organizations. To be considered an Aboriginal business, the following criteria must be met. At least 51% of the firm must be owned and controlled by Aboriginal people, and if the firm has 6 or more full-time staff, at least 1/3 of the employees must be Aboriginal. If your firm is starting a joint venture, or if you'd like more information regarding eligibility, you can find it at www.aadnc-aandc.gc.ca/PSAB. Once you've determined if your business is eligible to participate with PSAB, you can start your registration process. Once your registration is accepted, you can begin using the PSAB's tools and resources. Firstly, Aboriginal businesses should register their firms with AANBC's Aboriginal Business Database, housed on the Industry Canada's website. Aboriginal firms should also get to know the people within the federal government who may want to buy their goods or services. Firms can market themselves to PSAB coordinators and departmental material managers and use this network to learn about upcoming opportunities. Aboriginal businesses can also identify prospects for contracts under $25,000 through departmental material managers. Larger federal contracts are listed for free by searching or browsing the latest tenders using the quick search icons on the Government of Canada's website, buyandsell.gc.ca/tenders. If you want to know more about a particular tender, you can simply direct your questions to the contracting authority identified in the tender documentation. If you have federal procurement or tendering questions, please contact the Office of Small and Medium Enterprises for training in submitting tenders and bidding on contracts. If you have any questions about PSAB itself, please visit our website or call our toll-free number, 1-800-400-7677. PSAB has helped hundreds of Aboriginal entrepreneurs and thousands of Aboriginal employees gain more access to Canada's robust economy. It has created successful partnerships between the federal government, Aboriginal peoples, industry, and private sector, bridging worlds and bringing new ideas together. And it has strengthened Aboriginal communities' control over their own economic independence, skill development, and prosperity, while raising the profile of Aboriginal business skills, success, and contribution to the Canadian economy. PSAB is determined to carry this positive momentum into the future, creating more financial stability for Aboriginal generations to come.
All right. Okay. So basically, that was kind of an introduction to what PSAB is, which stands for the Procurement Strategy for Aboriginal Businesses. So again, like I was previously saying, the federal government is mandated. So they have laws that tell them that they have to hire X amount of Indigenous businesses and entrepreneurs. So this is an incredible kind of opportunity for Indigenous entrepreneurs.
Chris,
Yeah.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's a couple of questions on the moderated
Okay.
chat line you might want to have a look at.
Okay.
To deal
I
with
see that.
PSAB, and I'm going to hand the mic right back to you.
Okay.
Can you see
Thanks.
them?
Yeah, I see them. Okay, great. Sorry, I didn't see those previous questions there. Okay, great. Okay, so Chris, does this program apply to Métis people? Yeah, so that does. I saw the previous comment about being in the bottom of a 45-gallon drum. Hopefully that the audio is improved. So it sounds like that you have to have your business established first for PSAB. Am I right, or assuming that, or do they not help assist with startups? Yeah. So I guess PSAB is more for existing businesses, but I think also maybe there's an opportunity or a contract out there that you create that a business could be created to fulfill a need. Like I know, for example, the government had put out a lot of tenders for medical equipment, and I do know that there are Indigenous entrepreneurs that have risen to that occasion and created some medical products for hospitals and whatnot. So, you could essentially look for this tender opportunities and essentially, maybe potentially formulate a business together. Whether that's becoming a joint venture like the lady had mentioned in the video, but it has to be 51% owned by Indigenous persons. So that you could you could basically create a business to fulfill a federal contract and have this opportunity. Yeah, and I see there's a comment here from Jacques Leclerc that PSAB have many tenders out for non-medical masks. Yeah, so I know that there was a Indigenous entrepreneur out of Prince George who recently fulfilled some contracts for that. So so again, I think even though these contracts could be fulfilled by obviously businesses that are existing, I think also again that you could create a business that could fulfill this procurement, and you have a good opportunity of getting that contract, because again the federal government is mandated to fulfill so many contracts. And it's not just the federal government, but there's other organizations or quasi-government organizations that are also mandated. For example, like I know BC Hydro has to fulfill so many Indigenous contracts, and they have a online supplier form where you can fill out and indicate that you are an Indigenous business, and they will give you preferential opportunities when they do come up. So again, it's fair and transparent competition for these contracts, and encourages and supports partnerships and Aboriginal businesses that are able to demonstrate their capabilities and perform, and access to supply chains as well. There's another quick short video here that Jay is going to bring up, and it's about how to register for PSAB. So Jay, if you want to just throw that next video on here when you can. Hey, Jay? Oh, there's Jay. Got to get the audio again, Jay.
To end, so that you'll know what to expect when you begin your own registration. We begin with the Aboriginal Business Directory homepage. To register, simply click the Register Update button located here. Once you've registered your business, you'll be able to log in here using your Industry Canada username and password. To register the business for the first time, click the Create an Industry Canada account link. The first thing you need to do is enter your email address here. Then click Next. Now you will have to choose a username and password. Choose a password that has a capital letter and a number in it to make sure it is secure. Then type in the password one more time. Be sure to write down your username and password somewhere safe so you can remember them later on. Next, you will need to choose a secret question in case you forget your password. Then write the answer to your secret question. Type it in one more time. After that, fill in your personal details. Next, you will need to select one or more registration options. Your options are Basic Profile, Procurement Profile, and Promotional Profile. For maximum exposure to the procurement community, we recommend selecting all options. The next page is the Canadian Company Capabilities page. First, you will start with your company's legal name. You can enter it here. Next, you will need to enter your company's operating name. If it is the same as the legal name, you can check this box here. If your company's operating name is different than your company's legal name, you can fill it in here. Afterwards, you will need to fill in your company's mailing address. In this section, you will need to enter your company's actual location address. If your company's location address is the same as its mailing address, you can simply click this box. If it is different, you can fill in the necessary information in the boxes provided. The next section is your company's contact information. Please enter your company's main telephone number, its toll-free number if applicable, its fax number, again if applicable, your company email, and then your company's website. Finally, you need to select your company's primary business activity. If at any point you have questions about the application, you can contact PSAB at our website or call our toll-free number 1-800-400-7677. Does your company export to other countries? If it does, you can select yes in this box. If not, select no. Here we have the company description. Write a brief summary of your company and the goods or services it provides. When you are finished, click Continue. This next step is very important. You are the data provider for your company. You will be the contact who is responsible for keeping your company's information current and active. The data provider does not have to be the owner of the company, but he or she must be delegated by the owner. Start by entering Mr., Miss, or Mrs., followed by your first name, last name, job title, administrative email, telephone, fax if applicable, and finally, your language of correspondence. When you are finished, click Continue. The next step is very simple. It is your company's first contact and has already been pre-filled with all your information. If you wish to add anything like other job titles or areas of responsibility, you may do so here. When you are finished, click Continue. If at any time you would like to go back to a previous page to check information or make a correction, you may simply click the Back button. Step 4 asks you if you would like to add any additional contacts. We seriously recommend adding more contacts to your company since there can be turnover within a company and it can also be difficult to reach people at times. When you are finished, click Continue. For step 5, you need to describe your product or service. First, you must choose whether you are offering a product, service, or license. Next, you need to write the name of it. And finally, you need to write the description. When you are finished, click Continue. For step 6, you may add additional products, services, or licenses. Some examples of licenses may include certifications such as ISO 9001 or a vehicle license. In the next section, you may declare whether your company is Aboriginal or not based on the PSAB criteria. If you have met all the criteria, wish to declare your business as Aboriginal, and want to sign up for PSAB, click Yes. Next, confirm that your business has at least 51% Aboriginal ownership by clicking Yes or No. And finally, click the employment category that best applies to your company. If your business has fewer than 6 employees, click the first option. If your business has 6 or more employees and at least 33% are Aboriginal persons, then click the second option. And finally, click Neither if neither of these situations applies to your company. Please note that AANBC has the right to audit any business before or after a contract is awarded or randomly. The next section is designed to give AANBC demographic data on businesses. Start by typing in the owner's name. Then, select the percent of ownership they have over the company. Next, select whether the owner is Aboriginal or not. Afterwards, you may fill in the information regarding the owner's heritage, reserve, First Nation, and gender. When you are finished, click Save. Afterwards, you may add other owners if applicable. In the next section, you will need to add some information about your business. First, select what type of business it is. Second, select the number of employees your company has. Afterwards, there are 3 numbers that are not mandatory, but that may help your company when competing for government contracts. The Procurement Business Number, PBN, helps procurement officers find a business, and buyers utilize standing offer and supplier arrangement numbers for easy access to goods and services. If you have these numbers, you may enter them now. If not, move down to the next section. Please enter the number and value of federal government contracts your business has been awarded. In the next section, you need to select what kind of products and services you are offering. Read carefully through the selections. When you find the product or service closest to what your company offers, check the appropriate box. In the next section, you will describe what kind of opportunities you would like to apply for. If your business has subsidiaries or can offer services across Canada, this section is valuable to complete. First, declare whether you want to be considered for opportunities near the city in which the business is located. Next, declare whether you want to be considered for opportunities across the province or territory in which the business is located. And finally, declare whether you want to be considered for opportunities across the country.
All right, thanks for doing that, Jay. Thank you. So your business, may or may not fit the role of taking on federal contracts. Obviously there's a lot of small businesses out there that, may feel that, going after federal contracts doesn't really suit them, and I get that. But I just wanted to make sure that for those who potentially could fulfill these similar types of contracts, that you go on and register your business for them, because it is an opportunity, and it's an opportunity that I think that you should definitely pursue. But one of the things that they had mentioned on there was find out who buys, right? Like what organizations within the levels of government will actually be purchasing. I think it's important that you introduce yourself. You maybe send an email, pick up the phone, call them, and send them information about your company, because they may be looking for suppliers, of your service or your products. And, if they are going through the list and then suddenly, they see a name that sounds familiar because, you had emailed them or you had reached out to them, chances are you're going to get picked because you have that, again, that established rapport. And that's one of the key things in marketing is having name recognition. So, it's things like repetition and frequency of your brand. So, if you may not decide to go and do business with someone after you heard their name or their business once, but if you've seen or heard their name maybe 3 or 4 times, you're probably have a higher chance of doing business with them. Again, go online and look for any and all kind of directories that you could register your business on. Maybe it's Aboriginal tourism associations, or like I was mentioning before, BC Hydro, or sometimes a lot of these resource-based companies and organizations have supplier directories where you can go on and you can put your contact information in case they are looking for people to fulfill these contracts. So now we're going to move on to the next slide here. So business ideas. And so one of the really important things I think, when you're looking for a business idea or you're looking for new products or services is, assessing what it is that you're good at doing. So, like, what are your skills? What are your interests? And what are the opportunities? And I think that's where you need to kind of focus, your target business area. And in the slide here, it says, find your niche. And you can see in the small little corner of the left here where it says skills, interests, opportunity. And in the middle is kind of, that's your target strategy. But I think, finding a niche is really important because, do what you love, right? It's kind of like, your passions will fuel your success. And I really enjoy working with entrepreneurs and small business people. And so by providing things like, marketing services, helping them with branding or, web development or content development or getting them found on Google searches or whatever, I know that I'm helping their business grow, and I'm helping, potentially their family and the people that they employ and those families, basically provide some kind of a living or a job. And I know that it's kind of like, it fulfills me personally, and that's kind of a passion. So when I work with clients, I'm, motivated knowing that I'm helping these people. And I think that's really important, that, you kind of match your skills and your interests and your passion, and then kind of find that kind of target niche. And I say niche, and what that means is, you kind of want to find an area of business that is maybe not being serviced as well, or maybe not being serviced at all, and then try to kind of like basically, dial in your services so you're not offering everything, but you're just doing like a one thing really well. And that, I think, will help you differentiate yourself from your competitors. But sometimes it's kind of hard that you may or not necessarily know what your interests are, or what your skills are. And so there are resources online. For example, there's a link here if Jay wants to bring up. I found it's a career kind of insight calculator, and what it can do is that basically you can select all the different types of interests that you are interested in, and it could help you match your skills up with what it is that you like. So you see here, I'm good at working with my hands, or I'm building and fixing things, or I'm organized, or I'm good at math or science or teaching people or whatever. I think it's important to kind of do like kind of a skills assessment of what your skills are you're really good at, and then what your interests and your passions are, and then kind of do something along those lines. And that can kind of be your guiding philosophy as far as what you do with your business. So so again, you just look for these type of kind of skills planners online, like this one here, and it can help you guide where you grow with your business. So let's go back to the slideshow now. So again, like, what am I good at? Where are the opportunities within the community that I live, or maybe your community on reserve? What am I passionate about? What do I like doing? The last thing you want to do is dread having to work in a company that you don't like going to. It should be fun, and you should enjoy doing it, and you should be good at doing it. My brother-in-law, he works in tourism, and he has a good job, and he is really passionate about what he does. But he's also limited with the current company that he's working in, and he's probably only going to ever earn X amount of money, and he has to kind of fit in that mold. He's not really able to kind of create new products for this company, because he's just expected to kind of do his job. So right now he's taking what he's really good at and his experience and he's passionate about, and he is starting up a canyoning business where he's going to take people to remote canyons and other caves, and he's going to lead and guide people to these kind of remote places on the island for tourism opportunities. So again, he's taken his experience and he's taken his passion, and I'm sure that once he gets going, and he's taking people to these amazing places to go canyoning or caving, that he's going to really enjoy getting up every day and going to work. So I think you should really enjoy what you're doing, and that way it kind of fuels your passion for your business. So again, there's a really great speaker and author and presenter, and his name is Simon Sinek, and he really inspires a lot of people, and he kind of inspires people by asking one of the questions is the why, right? It's like, well, why do you do what you do? And it's a good question, because I don't think a lot of people really necessarily answer that. And asking the why kind of is kind of basically a really important function in marketing. So like when I ask clients like why do you do what you do, it really gets people thinking, and that's whatever they end up saying to me is basically the message that we want to communicate to our customers or our potential customers, because that passion is what fuels people's motivation for doing business with them. Their passions are either their experiences and their education, or helping people, fulfilling some kind of a need that people have. And so it's that inspiration that I think is really important for when you decide what you want to do, that you really ask yourself, well, why do I want to do that, right? And it should be just more than just making money. It should be really believing in what you do. And I think that's important philosophy as far as business, that people like to know your story, right? And telling them why you do what you do and how you do it and what you do is really going to help kind of sell your business. So when you do get up and running, and you are communicating as far as your marketing, just let people know and be authentic and transparent, and let them know why you do what you do, right? Whether it's you learned it from your grandfather or your good friend or your uncle or your aunt, and they taught you how to do this, and now you're learning it and you're passing it down, and you're educating and teaching people what you learned and what and you're just trying to make the world a better place by providing some kind of a service or really authentic products or what have you. And so one of the things that I really, again, believe, and I mentioned this previously about an advantage that Indigenous people have, is that, I really truly do believe that Indigenous people are very entrepreneurial. And I know as a Métis entrepreneur, we've always been entrepreneurs, whether that's, being a mediator or a trader within traditionally, say, the Hudson Bay or Northwest Bay companies, and within Indigenous communities. We kind of have this kind of way of life about, trading and doing business. And I do believe that's existed a lot in the Indigenous communities for a long time. The importance as working in the community and providing people in the community, whether that was through traditional hunting and gathering and sharing, what you had to your friends or your family or people in the community, and they supported you at other times. This kind of, resilience and trade, I think, is very intrinsic with Indigenous ways of life, and as well as an appreciation for understanding where resources come from and Mother Earth. Not a lot of people can say that they're really rich as in culture as Aboriginal people, and I think that's one of our strengths, which is what again can make Indigenous people excellent entrepreneurs. Again, I don't believe that we're made to work 9 to 5. And again, I believe that Indigenous people, they're hard workers, and they know when it's time to get the work done, and they don't give up, because there's a coffee break or because it's 5 p.m. And so I think this is some of the successful formulas that make really good entrepreneurs. Now, I know that a lot of Indigenous people and may have lost some of their ways of life. But I think, again, deep down inside, everyone has a desire to survive and want to live a healthy and happy and independent life. And this is what you can do when you're an entrepreneur. You just need to find that passion, know what you're good at, and what you like doing, and then commit. And again, I don't think you need to worry that maybe you're not good at everything, or worry about failing, because there are people who are good at things you're not good at. And one of the things I've learned is to surround yourself with really good quality people. And so maybe you're not good at bookkeeping, so find a really good bookkeeper that you know and that you trust. Maybe you're not good at doing the marketing component, or you don't know about social media. Well, find someone who does. And maybe you're not good with financing or writing a business plan. Well, find someone who is good at that. Maybe you're not good at writing, so find someone who is good at that. And so what my point is surround yourself with a good team. You're the one who has the vision of your business. And I think as an entrepreneur, what you really need to do is be a leader. And you need to be that captain of the boat that drives the boat. And you need to be confident, and you need to be a really good communicator. And I think, again, that's another skill that Indigenous people have is, they're very traditionally an oral people. And I think that they're good at telling stories, and they're good at communicating. And so these are the things that, to be a good, successful entrepreneur, that you need to do. I'm not good at everything, and I've identified that. I think where the problem comes in for business people is they try to do too much, and they try to take on all these roles, and they end up just being mediocre at it. So I think it's really important that you surround yourself with a good team, you share your vision, you don't worry about past failures or regrets. I know almost every entrepreneur I know have tried something and didn't work out, or they tried something and it didn't succeed. I think you probably have a higher chance of failing at your business than you do at succeeding. But the key thing is not giving up. It's just never giving up on your goals. And one thing I would highly recommend doing is basically creating that vision. Or some people can create a vision board, and I've done this in the past, where you get a piece of paper like an 8x10, and you put images up of things you want to accomplish, or places you want to go, or things you want to see and do, and you put that somewhere as like a visual reminder. And it's powerful stuff. Put it somewhere that you can see every day, and it kind of reinforces why you're doing what you do and what your goals are, because you need that kind of that motivation, right? And another strategy you could do is, if you are going to, you want to start a business, you want to accomplish these things, is tell everybody about it, right? The more people you tell, the more you're going to have to do it, because they're going to hold you accountable. They're going to ask you about how it is that you're doing with it. And another strategy is finding a mentor. Like, for example, I know through the Thriving Nations workshop series that Jay and I and other people are putting on, there's an opportunity to do mentoring. So maybe there's a presenter here, Jay, or like myself, who you would want to get some assistance in doing some mentoring. Or maybe there's someone in the community or someone out there that's in business that's doing something that you like to do, and you could ask them if they wouldn't mind being a mentor. And I don't think you should really be too worried that someone's gonna, say no, or another strategy at the very least is to, just take someone out for coffee or buy them lunch or something. And, chances are, if they are doing something that you want to be doing, they could give you a lot of really important direction and guidance, because they've probably been through the trenches, and they've, had those ups and downs, and they could kind of steer you in the right direction or give you some invaluable advice. There's a lot of successful companies that's done that, where its expression is called riding the bull. And Microsoft did that with IBM, when back in the day, when they were a really small company, they teamed up with another company, and they learned how to do business, and they learned and made connections through their partners. And so this is a really good strategy. Like maybe you're not quite ready to start this business. Well, find an opportunity to learn from someone who is doing that in business and learn from them. I know when I was in university, I went to work for a property landscaping company and learned about things about, you know, yard care and landscaping. And then after a few months of just, you know, not really enjoying working for someone else, I branched off and started my own company. And so, you know, maybe you don't want to start a business right away, but go and work for someone in that business area that you do, and, you know, and learn from them and take the good out of the opportunity. And this, again, I think it's important just to, you know, not to worry about, you know, like past failures or past regrets, you know, because it's just, you know, you just got to kind of look forward, right? A lot of successful entrepreneurs, you know, end up working for someone else before, you know, they start. And like I was saying, but another advantage that Indigenous people have is their richness, again, in culture, but also in visual art. And you know, chances are you probably know a really talented artist. And if you look here on this slide, you'll see a company called MacWag Consulting, and they provide consulting services around health and counseling. And so what they did is they had a artist draw up a artwork here that represents a number of symbolic things for that client. And then what we did is we took the artwork and then we added the text in MacWag Consulting, Indigenous Pathways to Healing. So this richness and culture, not a lot of people have this. And I think it's important to kind of, you know, use this and leverage this as a opportunity to, you know, brand yourself. You know, and then you can use that for, you know, your identity and your culture and be proud of it. So, you know, and then, you know, another thing is obviously is having a good, powerful tagline. Yeah, there's the website that we built for them, and you can scroll down a bit and kind of tells you a little bit more about, you know, what kind of services they offer. And so again, I know this client particularly, he worked for a bigger institution, and then he eventually branched off his own and started offering these types of services to other nations. And so that's just an example of the advantage that Indigenous people have as far as the richness in visual art. And I think to try to use that to their advantage for their branding. So we're just going to stop right now and just take a quick 10-minute break. For those of you who just want to get a drink or use the bathroom or have a smoke or whatever, and we'll just come back at 7:17.
Thanks, Chris. We'll pick up again at 7:17, and yeah, fascinating workshop. I hope you're getting a lot out of it, and we'll see you at 7:17. Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the workshop being delivered by Chris. Before he comes back on board to continue with his workshop, I just wanted to tell you very briefly what you have coming up in the next few weeks, because there's some pretty interesting stuff. Tomorrow evening, there's a continuation working with Chris on business opportunities for Indigenous entrepreneurs. So that'll be one more session for Tuesday evening. Next week, on the June 8th and 9th, we have communication, networking, and building your business contacts. And that's communication, as you know, is one of the most critical business skills. And in this workshop, you'll learn how to develop contacts, building on the strengths, how to impress people, how to close sales, how to close deals, how to use body language, presentation. It's a very interesting evening of advice on communication, networking, and building your business contacts. And it's delivered by Lex Dunn, who is a national marketing consultant and trainer, and also a theater coach, an acting coach. And part of the workshop is improvisation training, acting and play acting. So it's probably one of the most entertaining classes and one of the most popular classes we have. And that's June 8th and 9th. June 15th and 16th, we have our good friend Chris Cathers coming back, who will talk to us about technology, how to use technology to start or build your business, understanding the pros and cons of implementing different technology in your business, new productive applications, etc. Webinars is a sales tool. So that's also extremely popular because it's extremely timely in the situation we find ourselves in. On June the 23rd and 24th, we are revisited by Lex Dunn, our marketing guru, who will talk to us about marketing, branding, and guerrilla tactics for Indigenous businesses. And we'll go through a whole series of examples of how to build your brand, how to market your company, all the creative tools to earn you a slice of the market, strong brand ads, and building value into all your marketing, how imagination can create a large splash without the need for a pile of cash. And that's what guerrilla marketing is all about. And a whole bunch of examples of creative marketing. On June the 29th and 30th, we have our last two workshops on making an impact, the successful business rebel. And the business rebel is, it's an interesting part of the webinar series, and it talks about flexible ethics, how the business world works. It's not always blacks and whites. There's a lot of grays involved, creative way to think and act, the psychology of business, what makes people say yes, what motivates people, what are the hot buttons and how you can push them into making a decision in your favor, how to use the system and make it work for you, how to stand apart. And those two workshops, June 29th and 30th, I have the pleasure of delivering. So that's the lineup you've got for the next few weeks. And you can see there's a lot happening, and there's a lot of great information. I think some pretty solid presenters between Chris and Lex, whom you'll meet on June 8th and 9th. And you should stay tuned and come on back. So I'm going to hand the reins back over to Chris, and he can continue on tonight's workshop. There you go, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Jay. All right. So now we're just going to shift gears a bit, and I am going to just talk about some business opportunities that I think that are good businesses for Indigenous people, or business opportunities that I feel make great businesses in 2020 and moving forward. One interesting thing that I have noticed is this kind of resurgence around food security in Canada and around the world, essentially, because of this COVID. People are looking at, what if, these supply chains dry up, especially living on the island. We are limited to, what we can produce here, and we import way more food than we actually produce. Unlike a lot of other countries and a lot of other nations, we're very reliant on food that comes from all over the world. And, it's kind of a blessing and a curse to have this, because, something really did happen to disrupt these, food productions, we'd be up a creek without a paddle. And, so I think this resurgence around food security there's an opportunity here. Whether that's, teaching people through workshops and training seminars about how to, go hunting or fishing or collecting berries, or how to, make traditional foods, or, how to grow gardens in their backyard, or how to budget and plan foods that are, don't rely on food from elsewhere. So I think, there's an opportunity here, and that I don't think it's just kind of at the forefront. That I know the government is putting a lot of funding for food security, so it's definitely one that I would look at. And I know a lot of Indigenous people are amazing artists, and there are an incredible amount of Aboriginal crafts and jewelry and art and clothing. And so if your hobby involves, things like weaving unique clothing, fashioning intricate jewelry, or painting, or carvings, or any kind of art, I think that this is always going to be a place where, there'll always be a market. And now with things like social media, like Facebook and Instagram, and things like Shopify and Amazon and eBay, there's never really been a better time to kind of get your products online, because now you can cut out the middleman. You don't have to put your stuff in an art gallery. You can sell it directly to the consumer, and now you can also reach the whole world market. And there's these amazing opportunities through like Amazon or eBay or Shopify, these or WordPress e-commerce systems like WooCommerce, to basically sell your products online. And so that would also include things like handmade beauty products, like maybe your grandmother or father taught you about, making healing salves or mineral baths that contain sage or sweetgrass. This knowledge that's been passed around through generations, and you could create your own product lines. And so these are things that people could do to create businesses and opportunity. Or maybe furniture design, like maybe your hobbies include woodworking and carving. What better way to use these talents than to kind of create unique handmade furniture and sell it? Or maybe you're a really good cook, and you like cooking for people. So maybe you start up a small food truck business, like you see here in the slide here, Songhe's Seafood and Steam. They have a food truck down out of there. They're often operating down in Esquimalt. And maybe you also do catering, so businesses or meal preps, or maybe fulfilling a need for elders in your community, or elders who are incapacitated and can't make food. People have to eat, and there always will be a need for food preparation services. So it's how you package it, and where the opportunity exists. Or maybe it's a restaurant, or again, like you like to cook. Maybe you could diversify, so you could have you could do like catering, you could have a food truck, and you could have a restaurant, and you could all kind of operate simultaneously, depending on the market, or the time of year, or whatever. Or maybe you're really good at doing sewing and alterations. There's always going to be a need for someone in the community to be able to do custom tailoring, or doing alterations, or maybe you do that in combination with creating your own clothing or your own handmade items. I think the key thing is to kind of diversify your product offering and your services, and offer a few things. Or maybe you're really good with children, and you love children, and you're really good. Nowadays, mom and dad both have to work, and things like daycares or aftercare school are always going to be in demand. And I know, like most Indigenous communities, the people are having a lot of kids, and there's a lot of needs for childcare. So maybe maybe you already have a few kids, and you create a small daycare in your house, and you can supplement your income by doing some daycare services. Like, that's always going to be around, and there's always going to be a big need for that. So even though some of these businesses may not be the most glamorous, there's a need, and where there's a need, there's opportunity, and where there's opportunities, there's ways to make money. Or maybe you're really good at finances, and you're really organized, and you like doing bookkeeping, and you're really good with numbers. Most all businesses need someone to do bookkeeping, and so there's always going to be a need for this bookkeeping services. Like helping businesses with their payables, or their taxes, getting them organized. There's a lot of really great programs on there, like QuickBooks Online, and I'll be talking about QuickBooks at the technology workshops. Just this incredible web-based bookkeeping system that you really don't need to be like super smart to run. Almost anyone can do it, and if you're just really organized person and you like doing that kind of stuff, there's opportunities right there. And I know a lot of people, a lot of Indigenous people are very creative, and they're very visual people, and maybe graphic design is something. There's always going to be a need for that kind of service. Businesses always need it. Or maybe you take your art online and you develop an art gallery online. There's a lot of really great tools out there through like Shopify and eBay and Amazon that that you could take your art or your designs and put it up online, and sell these products. Again, along that same line, web development, web design. Nowadays, you don't even have to really be an amazing coder or programmer. You just have to maybe have a good eye for design, know how business works, and know how Google operates, and you can build websites, because there's always going to be a need for websites. Businesses always need to get online. They need to get found. That's how everybody looks for services and products these days, is they go online, and they're using these devices, and these devices are with them all the time. And this is one of the, I would say, one of the biggest changes in how we live our lives and how businesses operated is by these devices. Smartphones really have changed the way how business works. Now you don't really see much of the ways of yellow pages and phone books anymore. Businesses don't need that anymore. When someone's looking for a product or service, now they have things like rants and raves Facebook pages, or they have Facebook or Twitter and say, hey, who recommends a good landscaping company, or hey, who's a go-to bookkeeper, or they go on Google and they search best electrician in Nanaimo, or carpet cleaning in Duncan, or the top best restaurants in Victoria. Google and the internet has totally revolutionized how the way business operates, and it's an opportunity. And if you embrace it and you understand how it works, you can use that and provide that as a service, just like how I do with my marketing company. I've identified that most all businesses need this service, and they're willing to pay for it because either they don't have the understanding, knowledge, expertise, or the time. They're so busy, running their business, that they need someone to help them out around this area. And another thing that's really revolutionized, and it's really interesting now, is like you see this big shift in how business is being done due to COVID, and that is through things like e-commerce. Businesses who have traditionally depended on people coming into their store or their place of business some of them have had their doors shut, and they have not been able to even open up because due to the number of people in their store, or maybe not having all the infrastructure in place to handle people. And so now they've had to go online and set up their business through e-commerce. But again, there's some incredible platforms out there. I will talk about them a bit more through the next workshops on technology, but we'll look at them a little bit more in detail. But things like Shopify, eBay, Amazon, Etsy. These are all platforms that people are now turning to. Another business idea, photography. You know, a lot of people are really passionate about photography, and now we have these platforms like Instagram, and Instagram social media allows you to showcase your photos, and it's an image-based social media platform, and you associate keywords which are known as hashtags, and people who go on there and search for these type of keywords or these phrases, otherwise known as hashtags, your profile on Instagram can show up. And so, you know, you can market yourself this way, and, you know, you can promote your services, whether if you're a photographer. But I think, you know, there's always going to be a need for things like, you know, wedding photographers, portraits, products. Businesses always need photography, and that's a big part of marketing and social media, is taking photos, and so, you know, these things can help, you know, your business. Tourism. I believe tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors in our economy. Maybe not of lately, but traditionally, tourism has been a huge driver in our economy, and Aboriginal tourism is growing very fast. I would recommend, if you are passionate about tourism and you like doing working with people, and you know, I would highly recommend doing tourism, because it's such a sought after demand, especially for any kind of real cultural, unique experiences. I know that they're highly sought after. You know, maybe you could take people, you know, to your local fishing holes or your hunting spots, or, you know, maybe you know a lot about the history of the community or areas, or, you know, maybe you're able to share stories from your ancestors, or, you know, take a cultural tour with a focus on Aboriginal towns and shops in your community, or tours on the water or in the mountains. I think, you know, these type of rich culturally tourist opportunities are always going to be in high demand, and I think that there's not enough of them out there, and so there's kind of this void in the marketplace. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to do something exclusively Indigenous, but maybe I could have like an Indigenous flair, and I think you can use that to your advantage for your marketing to kind of highlight that, and I think that will separate you from your competitors and give you a leg up. So definitely, I like tourism. You know, and tourism comes in all different forms, whether it's, you know, providing accommodations, transportation, you know, like tours, or, you know, experiences. I think, you know, that tourism is such a fast growing area that you can really apply it to a lot of different things. Or, you know, maybe you're really good at growing things and you like, you know, getting dirty. You know, landscaping business may be good. There's always a need for kind of property maintenance and landscaping services, you know, whether it's just like having a truck and helping people move dirt, or, you know, helping people plant, or cleaning their gardens, or planting gardens. Especially, you know, in Canada and on the island, we have a very aging demographic. A lot of the baby boomers are moving here, and they have that kind of disposable income to hire someone to do landscaping or care, or, you know, maybe they're snowbirds and maybe they're flying down south. But landscaping is will always, I feel, be a good area to get into. There's always tree pruning and, you know, mowing lawns and all that stuff. Is so if you know, you like that kind of work, as far as, you know, being outside and gardening and, you know, seeing that final product, I think landscaping is a good one. Construction, obviously, construction is a huge part of our economy here. You know, maybe you've been building things all your life, or, you know, you're really good at fixing things. I think, you know, construction and handyman type of services, which also are similar to like landscaping, are always be in demand. You know, maybe building homes, you know, going off and taking risk and developing or building homes, especially, you know, for more affordable houses. There always will be a demand for that. There's always people that need a place to live. And I think, especially on Vancouver Island, we're a very sought after destination, and there's always going to be a need for, you know, new homes and renovated homes. So So some other ways to think of your business ideas. There's, explore your community and ask yourself what services or products that are needed to make things better. A lot of times you may go through life and get frustrated with something because something's not available or not offered. That's a good way to find a good business idea or providing a service that you got frustrated with that you couldn't find. There's ways to kind of fix these problems and turn them into these business ideas, right? Another way is look at other people and other communities and see what they're doing, right? Do they have services that are needed in your community? What are they doing that you could do as well, right? A good example I've seen was a community, like an on-reserve community that had a need and was outsourcing garbage collection. And then someone in the community bought a garbage truck and started doing garbage collection services for the band. So they looked for an opportunity. They saw that it was being fulfilled not by someone within the community, and they created an opportunity by buying a dump truck. So that's one way to look within or look at other communities and see what they're doing. A good example is the band in Soyuz, and they have all these different types of businesses that they're running, like campground and cultural tours and a vineyard, and so they're doing this all on reserve. And by looking at other communities or other places of how people are doing business, you could kind of emulate them and take the good of what they're doing and maybe even improve on it. Other ways you can think of business ideas are, talking to your friends. Maybe they have some ideas, or maybe they have problems that need to be fixed, and or maybe connecting with your friends and family, or finding ways on how to do business together, or finding business that may be not able to fulfill all the needs within their business and partnering with them. Not being partners forever, but maybe in the short term, just to kind of help them fulfill all the demand. And maybe you could kind of create a, like a small business subsidiary, or, a product or service that's kind of like them, right? So some other types of businesses that I would recommend opening up nowadays and moving forward are niche blogging websites. I know of some bloggers that basically earn six-figure incomes just from having a website and just from writing about things that people want to read about, or want to learn about, or people that want to watch through videos. And so, one way to do that is, find a topic that people are interested in, provide valuable content, make it very informative, entertaining, or resourceful, and it will attract a lot of visitors. If you keep updating a niche type blog website, whatever it is on, if you keep adding content, the traffic will come. Google will find that website and it will index it, and it will rank you high on the search engine for whatever those contents that you're developing on there. And then what you do in turn is you monetize that traffic, right? So you look at things like Google AdSense, affiliate advertising programs, which is taking other businesses or companies' products or services and finding a way to advertise them to your website, whether that's a link to Amazon product, or a product on eBay. So for example, maybe you're really passionate about travel, and you're really passionate about exploring, and you like hiking and camping, and what you do is you find maybe you talk about camping and hiking on the West Coast Trail, and then you embed these ads to products that you like or would recommend to Amazon or eBay, and some of these will pay you a commission or a kickback if someone goes from your website to their website and buys a product or service. That's what you call affiliate marketing and advertising. And setting up a niche blogging website doesn't cost a lot of money. You want to look at the programs like WordPress that have really good content management systems. And you choose a relevant domain. So go to somewhere like GoDaddy, set up a hosting account, install a WordPress website, and then learn and understand everything there is to know about what's called search engine optimization, about how to get your website ranked really high. And don't worry if you're not good at that type of stuff about setting up websites or about SEO or all that stuff. There are applications and there are programs out there. For example, Upwork.com is a kind of a crowdsourcing system that will allow you to find people all over the world that are really good at programming or graphic design or writing or whatever, and you can completely outsource all those tasks. Now, you would really want to do your due diligence and understand the difference in qualities, because there's all different types of people out there who say that they're good at that and aren't necessarily good at that. So I would just be very cautious if you are going to take that approach. If you're going to try to do that yourself, is to make sure that you understand what it is you want when you're building a website or what have you. So niche blogging websites are really great. Online courses and coaching. Ta-da! Look what we're doing here. This is obviously becoming more popular and increasing with these types of platforms, right? There's Zoom, or there's Go Meeting or Click Meeting. There's all these Microsoft products as far as meeting now, and allow us to basically become virtual, and it doesn't matter where you're located. You can put on courses or training virtually anywhere. So if you're really good at something, you've got a good skill set that people need to learn about, you can use these types of applications now and develop courses and develop resources online. You can, maybe you do it in conjunction with your niche website, where maybe you're really good at fishing, and you write about fishing, and you write about how good of the day you had fishing, and then maybe you could do a course about teaching how people to become better fisher people. Or maybe you're a counselor and you're really passionate about helping people. You could develop a online resource guide and also offer counseling services virtually. So there's other platforms out there that could work as well. You just got to do some research and find out what one's best for you. But definitely online courses and coaching, because you just have to basically do it kind of one time like this. You record it and add some resources to it, and you could basically sell a online platform for these types of services. Drop shipping. So this is something that is becoming very popular. It's been going on for quite a long time. But basically, what drop shipping is where you market a product or a service, mainly products, and you basically don't produce them, like you don't manufacture them, but you're kind of a reseller of it. And you source out someone who makes these products, whether that it is one product, or maybe it's a handful of products, or maybe it's hundreds of products, and you group them together and you create a website, like an online e-commerce site, whether that is through WordPress, and WordPress has a application called WooCommerce that allows you to sell online, or maybe you use a more integrated system like Shopify, which, by the way, recently just went public, and I believe now is one of the most valuable companies in Canada. And so they are a online platform that allows you to sell products, and they have all these really amazing third-party plugins that allow you to do all kinds of fancy things like coupons, or integrated shopping cart applications, or reports, or online newsletters. And so it allows you to sell your products online. So if you check out, Jay, if you wouldn't mind, just opening up the link rooftoptents.ca, that's in my link document. This is a company that basically I'm doing drop shipping. So I don't produce these rooftop tents, but what I've done is I've essentially ordered a shipping container full of these rooftop tents overseas, and I'm reselling them here in Canada. And so I found a product that people want, and I'm also passionate about camping and exploring. And so I created a brand, Rooftop Tents, and I'm basically just reselling these products. Now, I'm actually physically bringing these products here, but you don't necessarily even have to bring the products in. There's a lot of manufacturers out there that will allow you to basically ship and sell directly from the manufacturer, meaning that the manufacturer will sell and ship the product right to the end user. All you got to do is basically market and promote it. So, you can say, for example, you're really into vehicles and cars and 4x4ing, you could create a website and you could put on it all kinds of 4x4 or vehicle accessories and products and sell it. Now, obviously, you can't just build a website and put all these products online and just expect people are going to come and find you. You actually need to market and promote it. Like, so if you, for example, you see Jay, the latest news there. So what I've done is I've created a blog, and I have put articles about best places to camp, or articles about how to choose a rooftop tent. And so what this does is Google has these little kind of spiders, and they crawl around the internet and they look for content, and they look for all these keywords, and then they index your site based on these keywords. So you basically what you want to do is you want to build a community around these products that you're trying to sell to drive traffic to your website, and then hopefully a percentage of this traffic's going to in turn turn into a customer and buy your products or services. So this is just one example of a product that you could basically kind of sell, right? So there's a website. If you look, Jay, again on that link sheet, it's called oberlo.ca, success stories. If you wouldn't mind just clicking on that. This website is basically all designed on how to, if you look at the top, they've got these success stories. So if you just want to just slowly scroll down, so these are success stories of people who've built $1 million companies by not even creating a company. Basically, they're just reselling other companies' products, but they're doing so by creating a good website, and they're marketing it. So I would check out this website called oberlo.ca if you are interested in drop shipping, and kind of look at these other examples of these companies that have gone on to be really successful. Look, for example, Curtains to Cap, starting an environmentally friendly fashion brand with no industry experience, or how to scale growing their drop shipping business to $500,000 per month. So these are people who have no experience necessarily about even creating a product, but they've maybe found some really good products, and they've packaged it, and then they resell it. So there's a YouTube video, Jay, if you just want to open up on that link, and it'll kind of give you a little bit more information about kind of how drop shipping works, in case you're still not clear on how it works, but this will kind of explain it.
Hey guys, Dan Buchan here, and today we're going to be talking about dropshipping. So what is drop shipping? You probably hear it all the time about this brand new method of making money online without really putting any money up or without holding any inventory. Well, this is what that is. Drop shipping seems like an elaborate system, but it's really not, and it's quite simple. So if you allow me to explain here, as you can see over here, we have your supplier. So that's who you're going to be purchasing wholesale from. And keep in mind, there are two different prices in selling. There's wholesale and there's retail. Wholesale is what you, the seller, is buying for, and retail is what you're selling for. So your customer over here buys retail price, and you buy wholesale price. So here's how the system works. First, you purchase or you find a product from a supplier. So you can go on AliExpress or eBay or even any American drop shipping companies. So you just find the product. So you find your product and you list it on your web store. And keep in mind, you're buying this product for wholesale, say $2 a piece, and you're selling it to your customer for retail, say $12 a piece. Okay? The next step is your customer buys the product from you. So your customer goes to your store and he or she buys the $12 priced item. Okay, next step is you take that order and you send it to the supplier. So once the supplier has your order, what they do then is they directly ship to your customer. What this means is throughout this whole process, you're not touching a single piece of inventory. All you're doing is hosting this service and driving the traffic to it. You're driving the customer to your store, and then you're sending the order from your store to the supplier, and they take care of the rest. It's very simple, very easy to do, and I actually want to show you a couple examples right now. So, if we go over here, we can see websites like this. So websites like this is it's just a bunch of different niches that they found on Shopify. They're probably using Facebook ads or a different advertising source to drive traffic to. But the problem is it's all there's no niche to it. You know, it's not like moms love this or boho gypsy knuckle rings. You know, they have knuckle rings, they have necklaces, they have Luke Bryan. Like those don't go together. But what I'm trying to show you is that the pieces they have here for $12.95, what they do is they go here and they go to AliExpress where they can buy the same exact rings for $2.85. So what am I trying to show you here? I'm trying to show you here that AliExpress is a supplier, right? The web store is this store right here, Trendy Things, and they're selling it for $12. So like I said before with the two prices, you have your supplier, AliExpress, selling it for $2.85, that's wholesale price, and you have this store who are buying it for $2.85 but selling it for $12.95, which is their retail price. So what happens is, when I buy this, all they have to do is come here, press buy now, and fill out my shipping information, my address, not my credit card, their credit card, my address, and they ship it to me directly from here. So let's see a couple more examples of this. Here's a dog niche dropshipping website. As you can see, they have a couple cool products, but like this $15.95 waterproof small dog hoodie jacket. So if we go to AliExpress again, we can find the same jacket right here for $4.65 to $6.32. So again, this is their wholesale price, and this is the retail price. Here's another one. See, we have this Naruto leaf bracelet, limited edition, free. Okay. Let's see. Oh, well, they're doing free plus shipping, the free plus shipping model. And we'll go into all that in the 7FA Ultra. But as you can see right here, they have a couple tools that I'm going to talk about. But let's see how much they're charging for shipping actually. Check out. Alright, let's see. So you have to fill all this out. Let's do it. See, I just gave them my email address. Did not want to do that. Well, let's see if they utilize it. Let's see if they use that email list. Okay, but you see here they're charging $9.95 just for shipping, and they're purchasing this bracelet for $179. And basically, how the free plus shipping model works is they market their product as free, and then they just add the retail price into the shipping. So this is going to be their retail price, and this is the wholesale price they're buying it at. So it all goes back to this: AliExpress being the wholesale supplier. The 3 stores that I just showed you were the web stores where you sell for retail, and whenever the customer buys from retail, you just send it up to your wholesale supplier and they'll send it directly to your customer. And that's pretty much the rundown on drop shipping. Alright, see you guys later.
All right, so you got a little taste of how drop shipping works. It's actually, pretty incredible. But what you want to do is you need to build the traffic to the website. You need to build the community, and that's where you would utilize things like social media and advertising and marketing through social media. Like you could do targeted advertising through social media, and I will talk a bit more about that during the technology workshops, where I can kind of give you some ideas or teach you about how to do the social media advertising. And in my opinion, the best return on your investment as far as advertising dollars to get new clients is targeting through social media. Social media knows so much information about you. They know where you live. They know how old you are. They know what your interests are. They know who your friends are. They see how you interact on social media, and they drive advertising to you based on all these demographics and interests. And you've probably even seen it where you're like searching for something on Facebook Marketplace or searching for something online or even chatting about it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're being advertised to about that product. It's kind of actually creepy and scary, but it goes to show you the powerfulness of social media marketing advertising. So when you combine social media advertising and marketing with things like creating a website and drop shipping, you can drive targeted traffic to your website that has a higher chance of becoming a client or customer. So drop shipping is really cool, and I definitely would recommend it. It's not for everybody, and it changes all the time because it's easy to get into, and so the access to compete is really high. So anyway, so if anyone is interested more about the drop shipping, we can do some mentoring after, and I could teach people more specifically one-on-one about that kind of stuff. Again, I'm gonna talk more about like some really cool, different business ideas that that we could start. And I showed you an example of the rooftop tents. Like it's a little bit different model than drop shipping, but it goes to show you what you can do as far as importing products and what have you. So I guess we're just kind of running out of time here now, but I am going to carry on tomorrow night at the same time, and we're going to talk about some other really cool business ideas that I think that people should explore. I'll stick around for some more time in case anybody has any questions. They can do it on the chat here. Otherwise, you can also email me or give me a call, and I'd be happy to talk more in detail. But we're going to continue on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming and listening to me, and I look forward to engaging more.
Thank you, Chris. That's quite a workshop. Really appreciate it. There's a lot of great information, and I think people are most anxious to have a look and join you tomorrow night to continue this topic. Just to remind you of what else is coming up. I did it before, but some of you might not have been around. You might have been out catching a biological break or smoke break. Tomorrow night we have Chris continues on great Indigenous business ideas and opportunities. June 8th and 9th we have communication, building a network. Contacts are one of the most important things in business. Building your networking skills, impressing people, how to do presentations, closing sales and closing deals. And we have some improv acting with Lex Dunn. That's June 8th and June 9th. June 15th and 16th, we're back with Chris for technology, everything you'd ever want to know about technology and how to use it for your business. June 23rd, 24th, we have branding and marketing and guerrilla marketing, some great examples of how to build your brand, particularly strong brand ads for Indigenous startups and established businesses, how to market, some great marketing strategies without using a pile of cash. June 29th, and that's again with Lex Dunn. June 29th and 30th is the Business Rebel, the psychology of business, how to get people to say yes. That's a really fascinating two workshops. You should not miss that. It's the kind of stuff that nobody will teach you in business school. It's kind of edgy. It's actually very edgy. And that's what we have lined up for the next few weeks. So thank you again, Chris. It's a great workshop. Everybody stay well, stay safe, stay healthy. Chris has given you his email and his telephone number if there's any other information you want, or if you want to set up a mentoring session. We do have limited mentoring for those who are seeking some one-on-one advice. Please take advantage of that. You'll have that with Lex Dunn as well, or with myself. And I wish you all a good evening. Good night to all.